Hey, this is Alan from GameLark Remixes, and I'm here with Ace Waters, formerly known as Motive Makes a Man.
Hey.
So there's my first question for you. Why the name change?
Well, Motive Makes a Man was my band name for my music a while ago, and before I started making videos, it was the name I used for all of the different musical things I was working on. And it was like inspired by the songwriting music I was doing, with like the lyrics of the concepts I was covering and stuff like that. It really connected with these ideas of like what makes a man and what, like, I don't know, kind of more philosophical ideas. And then as I started working more on YouTube, I realized that the name didn't really have anything to do with what I was doing. Like, it had nothing to do with video game covers. It had nothing to do with anything that I was doing. And I kept having people say, like, your name is Ace Waters. Just call yourself Ace Waters. Like, you don't need a name. You don't even need a band name. Your name is the kind of name that people, like, you know, pay people to come up with a pen name. Like, it's good. Just go with it. And I was like, but I have all these assets I've made. I have all this stuff. I've got logos and end cards, and I have to remake all of it. And I don't want to confuse. At the first time I went through this debate, I was like, I don't want to confuse my like 400 subscribers. And
Think of the subscribers.
And I was having a conversation with a friend and my wife and a couple other people that just kept coming up. And recently they're like, you just got to do it, man. You can't wait any longer. Like, it's okay. Where you're at now, people will make it through. You mention your name all the time. You always start all your things with, hi, I'm Ace. I am Motive Makes a Man. So people know who Ace is. Like, everyone I know, whenever they refer to you, they just call you Ace. Just go with it. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do it. And I'm sort of in the process of making the switch now. Facebook is going to take another week or so to transition, and I still have to make new banners and a couple new logos and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm just decided to make all of my musical things as easy to find as possible by just doing everything under my name. So
awesome.
That's yeah, what I'm gonna go with from now on.
So it sounds like you've been doing music for a while, right?
Yes, I have. I started with piano lessons as a kid. My parents got me like a little toy piano, or not a smaller Roland, like a little electric piano. And then when I was in middle school, I started on saxophone, which was like my band instrument. I also played bassoon in a high school band because of a weird scheduling error. And it was basically like I couldn't be in the... I was a sophomore, but I couldn't be in the sophomore band because it was at the same time as something else. So I had to either go back to freshman band, where I could play saxophone, or move up to the varsity band, but they already had like 10 saxophones, so I had to play something else. And my band teacher was really nice and a good friend of mine, and was understood that like I shouldn't go back to concert band. Like, band was my life in high school, so he was like, just pick up. I think we originally was going to play clarinet, and I was terrible at clarinet, and I went into school and I was like, we don't have a bassoonist. How about I play that instead? And he's like, it's the hardest instrument in this band to learn how to play. And I liked it a lot more than clarinet. I disagree with him. I think clarinet's much more difficult than bassoon. But yeah, I played bassoon, and then when I went to college, I started learning. I did bass. Was my primary instrument until I switched to composition. And then been recording music for as long as I've known how to record music, which I started doing that in college. And in college, it was the days of MySpace, so I had like 10 different bands with 10 different names that were all like, oh, this is my electro rock band, and this is my electro rock band, and this is my folk. Like, I had so many different bands. Had a ridiculous bad metal band, I think is what I'd call it, where I would play like metal riffs on an acoustic guitar, and I'd play finger drums on a keyboard, and then we would take lyrics from the most obscure and ridiculous hymns we could find that sounded metal. We were looking for hymns that sounded metal, so I think one of the ones we were going to do was "There is a Fountain Filled with Blood," I'm like, that just sounds so metal.
That is really metally.
It's terrible. It's terrible music. Like, if you listen to it, it's so bad. I think we called ourselves Fire Dragon and the Biscuit. But anyway, so I had a lot of stupid bands, and then eventually I was like, I'm gonna do all my music under one name, and that was Motive Makes a Man. And that's when I kind of focused on doing songwriting, and then I started to play more synths, and that's how I kind of developed Electro-Folk, which is what I kind of like to generally call my music, especially when I do original music, is because it's the songwriting style and focus on story of folk rather than like strict genre definition of folk with a lot of electronic infused elements. And I did that, and then I also do some, which is what I've been working on most recently outside of my videos, is ambient, like electronic music with a lot of post-rock influence and stuff like that.
Very
cool.
Music's
been a huge part of my life, pretty much my whole life. My dad is a guitarist and was always super supportive of me and tried to make sure that I had the equipment and stuff I needed to play music, and that was a huge part of why I'm still doing it, is because I had really supportive parents who were like, yeah, me being a musician is important, go for it. So
very cool. So do you have any idea how many instruments you own off the top of your head?
A lot. I've got like 15 over there. I've got like saxophones and an upright bass, a djembe, a bunch of guitars. Some of them are my wife's though, so not all of them are technically mine.
But you borrow them?
There's a bunch of... Well, actually, I'm left-handed, and all my instruments are left-handed. And so I tend to not play other people's guitars and basses and stuff because... I mean, I can play them upside down. Like, that's actually how I learned how to play bass and guitar, was on an upside down instrument of my dad's, but I really prefer instruments that have the strings facing the right way. And then I've got like wall of synths here. I got probably like 10 or 12 instruments surrounding me. Drum set, a couple more. I got a couple bass guitars, set of bells. So I don't know, 30 or so instruments. And then you've got all the little toys, like, I've got like tambourines and hand percussion and 2 theremins. Just
nice.
Have to mention. That's a really ridiculous joke from a live stream where I casually mentioned that I had 2 theremins, and everyone was like, "Oh, I see. We're not cool enough because we don't own enough theremins." And for a while, my Twitter handle was Theremin Makes a Man.
Oh, nice.
Because it was this ridiculous thing. But so yeah, I've got a lot of instruments.
Very cool. Do you have a favorite instrument?
Favorite instruments will probably be my 2 Dave Smith instruments, synths, which are my Prophet 8, my keyboard here, and then my drum machine is my Tempest. They're just they're really versatile. You can do so much with them. They're so powerful, and the sounds they create are just, I don't know. I remember the first time I heard like demos of the Tempest, and I was like, I need that instrument. That is the, like, and this was before I was more into electronic music. I was just like, no, that, like, it's definitely, it's a more expensive instrument, but just, it has such a unique sound to it. It has such a unique, I don't know, feel to it, even just the way you play it and the way you make your sounds. I really love both of my Dave Smith instruments. They're both really awesome. So
awesome. What made you decide to start posting covers on YouTube?
Well, I was when I moved to Portland 2.5 years ago with my family. I decided that I was going to try and pursue music in a more like full-time capacity. So I started playing out. I started playing shows at bars and open mic nights and stuff like that. I also started busking or street performing, just my guitar, and open up the case and play for people as they walk by. And then I decided I was going to take a step into the new media with YouTube and start making videos to kind of approach music from as many angles as possible in the hopes that, I could get out there. And bar shows, just as a father and a husband, I couldn't do them. I couldn't to really make it in music, I feel, without like knowing someone, you really got to pay your dues. You've got to do the grind. You've got to play the shows over and over and over until eventually, it's a very slow growth thing. Music tends to be very slow growth, and I just couldn't, I knew with my lifestyle and what I was doing and where I'm at, that doing the bars to eventually lead to the small tours, to eventually lead to the bigger tours, it just wasn't what I want to do with my life. And busking is way too emotionally draining for me. Just to have people walk by you and completely ignore you as you're like my songs were really personal too. So it's this is my soul out there for you, and you're just man, you're a bum. It's I can't do this. So but YouTube, it just clicked. I've been making videos with dumb home videos with my friends forever, so I had a pretty decent understanding of the basics of video editing. I have been an avid amateur photographer for years, so I have one really nice camera that could do video. So I had the camera, I had the knowledge, so I could at least basically put the video together. And I've always loved doing cover songs. Cover songs are something that a lot of people I know do them as fan service, oh, you're playing a show, you want to do songs people know. But to me, the idea of taking something and then arranging it and turning it into your own interpretation of that thing is I love doing it. It's not anything that I consider to be I think covering music is, if you do it right, and there's a million ways to do it right, is just as interesting and legitimate as any other form of music. It's not oh, the cover bands are over there. So to me, doing arrangements was always something I've been doing ridiculous versions of songs for as long as I know, and so I just kind of put it all together and made this one video, my Lady Gaga cover, and I had a ton of fun doing it. It took forever. Nowadays I get a video done in about 3 days. That one took close to 2 weeks. And so I was well, I'll do these every once in a while. And then I started to learn how to do them, and they took less time. And people started to react to them. I've been putting myself out there musically in some way for the last decade. Making albums, I put them out there for free. When I first put one out, I try and promote it, and I do little ads or whatever. I share it on whatever social media I have. And I've been doing my Facebook page for my band, for Motive Makes a Man, which is now becoming just Ace Waters, for years. And I'm at it would grow so slow, and it would only grow when I was actively, annoyingly pushing it. And YouTube, people just slowly started following me. And I have some background in small business from college. That's a whole nother thing. We're not going to talk about that, because I've been to 6 colleges and I don't have a degree, because that's the kind of guy I am.
You just like to learn.
I do like to learn, and that was actually what it was with business. Was I didn't need the degree to get the information, but so I'm able to. But anyways, I'm able to look at analytics and look at numbers and see projections and see where I'm heading. And music was always one of those. No, it's not. It's just what I do for fun. It's not going anywhere. And with YouTube, for the first time, I saw it going somewhere. I saw people finding me. I had an audience. It was a small audience, but I had an audience. I'd never had a real audience outside of my friends. And as I kept doing it, I was okay, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. And I said, I'm going to make weekly videos. I'm going to do weekly full big covers, because at first I was only doing one of those a month. And I did a cover of a video game song, and people just were drawn to it. So I was I want to do this. This is what I want to do. I love doing video game songs. I love doing geek-related songs. I'm also still going to do other covers. I just released a cover of a song from the Mighty Mighty Boss Tones this week. But everything kind of clicked. And it was when I set a goal of 1,000 subscribers by the end of last year, and then I reached the end of the year at 1,400 and completely blew away my goal, that I was all right, we're going to keep doing this. This is going to be what I'm going to do. I love doing it. And I would love to get it to the point where, I'm not looking to become super famous, but if I could, be able to, take care of my family and do what I love, that would be amazing. So, and for the first time, I actually see that path. Like I actually see where when I'm going to get there. It's going to take forever because YouTube is like I said before, it's slow growth. It's paying your dues, but that was really what inspired me to keep doing it, was that it was growing. It was growing naturally too. I didn't have to. I mean, I still go out there and promote my videos, but I didn't that wasn't the only time I saw growth. Was when I was hard, very annoyingly, friends pay attention to me, please, on Facebook or something. So yeah, that's kind of why I'm doing YouTube now.
Awesome. Do you have some favorite covers or remixes that you've done?
I do, and it changes every time someone asks me. It really does, because I don't put out a video I don't like. If I'm unhappy with a video, it doesn't go online. I like to have my songs be at least in my mind listenable, which is really good because I also I would never take down a video, so it's got to be up to a certain standard before I put it out there. But I'd have to say that if I were to pick a couple that are really important to me, the first one that comes to mind is my Geektronica that I did from Princess Mononoke, which is the Legend of Ashitaka, I believe is what it's called. I think that's what it's called. But just because those movies are the artistry of the music with the actual artwork and the story and everything just comes together in such a beautiful way, and that song is it's just really important to me. I've written other songs and bands from college based on that movie, so it was really cool to get to tackle something like that. Also, being a more traditional music score, it was probably one of the most challenging songs I've ever done. It has a lot of parts, a lot of sections, and trying to recreate it but still put my spin on it was one of the most challenging and rewarding things I've done. So I'd definitely say that one. Another one I'd mention is my cover of the Battle of Serenity from Firefly, which I got to do. I worked with my friend Josiah, who is Booze and Wash, although I know he's currently, like me, moving to just be his name. That one I don't know, it was a song that I had been wanting to do for a long time. I'm a huge Firefly fan. But I knew I couldn't do the vocals justice. I do some vocals, but they're very, I don't know, they're the way I sing. The way I sing is the way I sing, and it's kind of different. It's not classically pretty, I guess. And after getting to hang out with Josiah at MagFest, I was like, you and we need to do something together, and that was when it just clicked. The song I'd been wanting to do for so long, I have the voice that can sing it now. And it just came together so well. I was really happy for that one. The only other one, I'll mention one more, and then we can move on. And that is, the last one I just want to talk about very quickly is my cover of the Mansion Basement theme from Resident Evil Director's Cut. That was my April Fool's video, and a lot of people, I'd been telling friends about that one, that I'd been planning on doing that song when I first heard it. A friend shared it with me, and I had heard it before, but a friend shared it with me, and it kind of was jokingly hey, you should cover this. And I'm like, April Fools, I'm doing it. I'm going to cover what is arguably one of the worst songs in a video game ever. And a lot of people just expected me to do something really stupid and quick and then be done, but I was like, no, I'm going to turn this into a song. And so I started just my first, I did it in two ways, basically. If in the video, the first part of it is, how would I, being forced to use the notes that were written down for that song, how would I attempt to make a creepy atmospheric video game song? So I start there, and then the second half, while I was working on it, I just got this idea to do this dark, kind of grungy, late era Pink Floyd inspired, Uma Guma time period from Pink Floyd inspired, jammy, drony track. And it just came together, and it was so much fun. It's just so ridiculous to take something terrible, just absolutely terrible, and kind of try and make it something else. So I think that's going to become a trend. I think I'm going to tackle a new terrible video game song every year for April Fools.
Awesome.
I've got some other ideas planned, so it is going to be a lot of fun.
Very cool. So you mentioned that you worked with Josiah, formerly known as Booz and Walsh.
Yep.
Do you want to talk about some of the other collaborations you've done real quick?
Yeah, totally. I've posted this on Twitter before that I would love to be known as the guy who does collaborations with other people, because I don't know, I've experienced as I've been doing YouTube that, especially in the like video essay world, that there's kind of this weird stigma around asking people to do collabs. Like, you do them with friends, that's cool, but like if you just reach out to random people, it kind of seems like you're just trying to get a leg up, like you're just trying to get a, you know, subscriber push or something like that. And I don't know, for me, I've been doing that since I started. Like, I'm always reaching out to people asking to do collaborations, and I hope because it's music, it's different, because for me it's where I thrive. Like, I like to think of myself as the thing I do best is arranging, is finding the right sounds, crafting the right sounds, and then bringing them together into a song. And because of that, I'm not really great at any one instrument. I'm pretty good at a lot of things, but I'm not really good at one thing. And so with collaborations, I can find musicians who are really, really good at one thing, and then take what they do and work in stuff with me. And basically, it's just so much fun to watch the song come together with other people. I love working with people in that way. It's super rewarding. And I've had a great experience so far with all my collaborators. I've collaborated with Peter from Soundle. He plays the EWI. You did an interview with him, and I remember watching that interview in Illinois at my parents' house. I was visiting, and he started saying nice things about me. I was like, "Oh, Peter, like, you're so nice." And Peter's so good. Like, he is such a good wind player, and the way he can or like take songs and like dissect them and note for note transcribe them is just, it's really cool. And it's something that a lot of people do poorly in YouTube sometimes. Not even just in YouTube, just in video game covers sometimes. Just people don't take the time to get the right notes in the right order with the right accents and everything. Like, the amount of detail he puts into it is really awesome. So I love working with him. I've worked with Rock the Jake. He's a drummer, great drummer. I love the feel. Like, there's so many with drummers. I'm really picky. And I don't know if people necessarily, maybe people do know this, but I don't know. But my friends, if I work with you as a drummer, it means something, because like, we have to groove. Like, the drums need to groove. Like, you can be as good of a drummer, you can be an amazing drummer, but if I don't like click with the way you play, it's really hard for me to get into what we're doing. And the two drummers I've worked with, both Jake, who has Rock the Jake as his channel, and my friend Austin, who does his channel is Boku no Eruption. Both of them we clicked instantly, and I absolutely love working with both of them. They're both very talented drummers. I've worked with Steven Wilson. He's also kind of a multi-instrumentalist. He's got some really cool synths, and he did some really cool stuff on a cover. I've worked with Richati B, guitar player, virtuoso. That first time I ever saw his Shovel Knight medley, I was just like, I need to work with this guy. Like, this is just too good. It's the same style of playing that, like, when I listen to more technical, like, metal music, is the same, like, bands that I listen to, is the way stuff he's inspired by. So it really, like, it just made sense. I was like, I need to work with you. And then I also, another friend of mine who I need to work with again is my friend Felix. He's from Germany, and he has a synth channel. His channel is the Tuesday Night Machines, and he's very much focused on synths. He'll do some tech demos, he'll do some reviews, he'll also do jams, and working with him was really great, because he was when I first started off, was kind of like helping me out and like giving me advice and helping me with like more technical stuff with YouTube. And so he's really helped me out a lot, and I absolutely love working with him. He's got some really cool gadgets and some really cool synths, and it's really fun to get to work with him. I think I want to make sure I don't forget anyone, but I think I've worked with Booz as well, or Josiah, and I have a lot of collaborations planned for the future. So hopefully, as I keep doing this, the list will just get too long and I won't be able to remember everyone. If I forgot you, I'm so sorry.
It's all right. I'll put it in the description. I had to do that for Peter, so.
I want to work with you in the future. If I've worked with you and I forgot your name, you're all awesome. I have not had a bad experience collaborating. I haven't. I think part of that's because I pick the people I reach out to, but I don't know. It's just everyone has always been super. We just jive and the music comes together really nice, and it's all good. So,
awesome. Yeah. So you mentioned before that you have your own website, acewaters.com, right? And you have some of your older music on there, stuff that's video. You have 2 video game cover albums, some older non-video game albums, some original stuff, as well as commission work.
Yes, the website is brand new. I just launched it a couple days ago. Spent a long time designing it and making it look exactly as much as the way I want it to look as I can without being a web designer. And it's got my old albums that are also on Bandcamp, but it just has links to them on there. And then it has my commission work, because that is something I am really trying to pursue right now, is writing music for people. I've done a couple really awesome projects so far for things like podcasts and background music for YouTube videos, stuff like that. I've also done at least one game where I wrote a couple songs for an Android phone game. And I'm looking to get more work. So if you have a creative work of any kind, like seriously, I'm working right now on my next project is going to be some songs for a literary podcast. So like I'm very open. I really like getting to work with other people on their creative thing and kind of aid that in whatever way I can. And I'm really hoping to make it into something so that I don't have to do part-time work somewhere else. Like, it would be really nice to be able to let YouTube do its slow growth thing and get enough commission jobs that I can handle that, and because it's so rewarding. Like, it just is. It's the idea of getting to do something that I would be doing anyways, because like you could just look at me. I look at my website. Like, I've been making albums for a decade. They're all my last like all those 8 albums I made over the 10 years are all free. Like, I make albums, I put them out there, and then just now I was like, you know what? I can support myself on this. I can support my family on this, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like, it's there's always an internal struggle to like fight the like art shouldn't have a price tag concept, which is, still something in my mind, but it's also okay to value what you do and realize that the amount of time and effort you've put into crafting your skill is worth something. So I'm trying to do that with commissions, and you can ask any of the people I've worked for so far. I'm quick and try and get you exactly what you need. I'm really open to taking your idea and turning it into and getting the right thing for your idea. So if you're looking for work, let me know.
Awesome. So do you have any upcoming covers at the moment?
I have a lot of upcoming covers. I like to kind of keep a little bit of secrecy to them, just because the fun of hinting at what I'm going to do every week on Twitter is always a lot of fun. And this week I had a friend of mine on Twitter who was like, "Oh, I'm so excited, Wednesday is coming." And I was like, "Oh, thanks. Is that the impression that you get?" Which is the song I did, was the impression that I get. And he was like, "What, should I not be excited? Is a video not coming out?" And I responded with "Well, I've never had to, knock on wood." And I started quoting the song some more, and he just wasn't getting it. And eventually I was like, I just said something like, he was saying how it's crazy how many songs I get out, and I was just like, "It's pretty mighty, eh, boss? Tones?" And eventually he's like, "Oh, I get it now." So I like to throw hints out there and kind of let the people who are engaging me in those ways have sort of a little bit of a head start, a sneak peek. Yeah, kind of, exactly. But I can say next week I try to do video game songs. I don't have a strict schedule. I got rid of a strict schedule because it was just hindering me creatively. But I try to do at least a video game song every other week. Sometimes I do like 4 in a row, sometimes I don't. But I try and do one every other week. And next week is going to be a VGM. I'm doing it. It's a special birthday thing for my wife. It's her birthday next week, and she's been asking me to do a song for a long time now. So I'm finally going to cover that.
Cool.
And I think that's going to have some guitar on it. And then I have 2 or 3 collaborations that are being worked on right now with various friends. A lot of new collaborations. I'm really excited about that. I've got a lot of people who I haven't worked with yet who are all somewhere in the creative process of being made. And then the one thing I will, though, hint at is that my next Geektronica is probably going to be... I've been planning this for probably close to a month now because it takes a lot of work to get what I'm trying to do, but I want to do a medley of John Williams songs. So I'm going to take a song from a different movie of his, and I have at least 5 that I'm going to go through. I'm not going to say what movies they are, but I'm going to do 5 songs from 5 different movies that John Williams has done the score for, and I'm hoping I've got the like song laid out in my recording program. I've got the click, like I've got my click track all set up. I just need to really get into it and start arranging it. So hopefully that'll be out in the next couple weeks. I'm really excited about that one.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me.
Yeah, dude, it was great.
Thank you guys for watching, and as always, I'll see you next time.